Yeah, welcome to Tranergy TV. Two guys, two legends here on my left. A guy that owned the charts worldwide in the 90s with projects like Jam and Spoon, Dance to Trance, Storm, BG the Prince of Rap, Told You Get a Pussy, Mr. Jam Almar. And on my right, also a legend who's been producing since 20 years, the chef or the chief of Full Harbor Records, and also the man of the global DJ broadcast, Mr. Markus Schulz.
Hey, nice to be here.
Yeah, Marcus, the first question is, why did it take so long for you to come to the Technoclub?
Yeah, good question. We should ask Tala that, huh?
Yeah.
But no, you know, I have it's really kind of something because I have a family here in Frankfurt, and you know, my family they knew all about Dorian Gray and Technoclub and all that. So yeah, for me it's a great pleasure to be here at Technoclub for the very first time. My family is actually coming with to join us tonight. So yeah, it's been a while. It took a while, but here we are, and I'm hoping it's not going to be the last time.
Before we talk about your cooperation, your new relationship, I'm going to just ask you some questions first, and then we'll do some about the cooperation. I'm sure you don't mind not having to speak English.
Come on.
No. Marcus, your first meeting with Tala, that's what I always wanted to know. I mean, how long have you known him?
You know, I've known about him since before I even started in the scene. I mean, at Dorian Gray and those legendary clubs here in Frankfurt, they were, I mean, you heard stories about them all the way back in the US when I was living there. So, I mean, I've known about Tala for a long time, and then we've just kind of you know, we kept in touch as far as you know, he'd send us remixes and promos and stuff, and we've always, you know, I've always supported him. So this is really the first time we really been collaborating with this the latest Technoclub compilation, and I think it's opened up a whole new door because not only that, but I've also collaborated with him on a track. I thought it would be cool to kind of you know, collaborate together on something like that because I'm really loving his production style that he's doing right now. So yeah, Tala's a legend, another legend in the scene.
So many legends in one place right here.
You know what? It's crazy because as I was starting off, you know, I started off on the opposite side of the DJ booth. I was a clubber, and I'd be, you know, out on the dance floor, and I would be looking up at these great DJs like, you know, Danny Teneglia and, you know, people like Sasha and Digweed, and I would remember them playing tracks from Jam and Spoon and you know, and the crowd going crazy, and it's like now here I am, like, you know, it for me is sometimes I have to pinch myself. It's like it's kind of a surreal thing. You know, it's kind of cool.
You're the Unicorn
Slayer, yeah.
Why?
Well, they said that trance music is like rainbows and unicorns, and somebody tweeted, if trance music is rainbows and unicorns, then Markus Schulz is the Unicorn Slayer. And I retweeted that, and next thing I knew, it went viral. But what it basically means is I'm kind of like the anti-trance guy. You know, I'm kind of like against those long breakdowns where, you know, a song goes on singing love songs for 2 minutes and then comes the build up and everything. I've always been more into the darker, like the groove, the drive, and I think that's what the German trance scene was all about in the 90s. It was that drive, you know. Yeah, it had those euphoric moments, but that drive, and that's what's really missing in a lot of trance music, especially in the last, you know, I'd say 10 years. That drive has been missing. So I'm really glad to see people, you know, like, you know, Jam Almar kind of and Tala in the scene, kind of making these tracks that have that energy again, that raw energy.
You have a new album coming out, or is out? Nine Skies?
It just came out today, yeah.
Nine Skies?
Yeah, the Nine Skies, a Dakota, it's under my Dakota alias, which is a deeper, darker alias, you know, kind of an outlet for that, and I'm quite proud of it. It's a concept album. What I did is I first made a show called The Nine Skies. It's about the 9 steps to enlightenment. From the show, I took all the tracks back into the studio and then made an album out of it. So usually people will make an album and then go on tour, you know, with the to promote the album. And I did it the opposite. I made a show and then afterwards I made the album. So kind of a different approach, but I'm very happy with it.
You've been producing 20 years now. How you've been so consistent over such a long time?
You know what? I tell this to a lot of young guys, and that's you got to make music from the heart. because if you make music that's not from the heart, if you become popular, you're not going to be ultimately happy, you know, and you have longevity when you're on stage, when you're in the studio, and you're happy. You know, I wake up every morning and I'm like, I'm excited to get in the studio, or I'm excited to get into the DJ booth, because the music that I play, the music that I produce is stuff that I love, and I'm a fan of the music as well. So do it from the heart and you have longevity.
One of my favorite tracks from you is New World. There was a new mix that just came out.
Yeah, Mark Sherry did a remix, really driving, banging, remix. He did a great job, and it's funny. Every couple of years, I try and have that song remixed because it's such a staple. You know, it's a legacy track, we call it. And the legacy tracks sometimes you have to refresh, and Mark Sherry is on fire. So I was quite happy to have him kind of give it a new jacket for 2017, 2018.
All right, now let's talk about your cooperation with Jam Omar. I remember over the summer I saw some pictures that he had posted on social media, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's great that he's back now producing music with the trance of today.
Absolutely.
How did you guys come together?
Actually, so Ferry and I, Ferry Corsten and me, we were in the studio one time, and we're playing around, like just being fans of music and being goofy in the studio, and we started playing the chords to Stella, and then I, pulled up a sine noise, boop boop, playing that little lead, and then we just kind of laid it down and we started playing, our version of Stella, and so that's kind of like how, it kind of revitalized the interest. But then I got in the studio with Adina, and we did a cover for her live shows of Right in the Night, because she loved that song, and for her live shows she sings it, and through that we were actually got in contact, and he played after me at Mayday in Dortmund this past year. And that's when the first time we really met, and it was just it was really cool because it just felt like a long lost friend, like reuniting with a long lost friend.
You worked on new tracks in the last months. I believe tracks are done, and also the last days you were in the studio here around the corner. What can you tell about the sound that was in it? Let's hear from you guys.
It's funny because he was Jam was such a big inspiration for me when I was starting off, and like I said, that sound in my opinion has been missing. And there's no better way than to kind of like get that sound back into today's trance music than going right to the source. So I think what fans can expect is, that like right to the source sound.
Yeah, well, can't put that.
Jam, you say something also. I mean, how did you have this feeling about coming together with Markus and making new music?
I think it's very, very exciting, and I have to tell you, working with Markus was actually also like a bit for me like coming home, because when you collaborate and you start a new collaboration, you don't know really where it goes, where it leads. It can be like very fruitful. Sometimes you meet up with people and you don't really get results, like satisfying results. But with Markus is we speak the same language. We are on the same level, and we like the same sounds. And I think what we have now already for release is amazing. And I wonder what's next. What's coming after that.
Gets me excited just thinking about it. Like,
yeah,
I can't wait to get back in the studio.
Yeah. And he's such a wizard in the studio. Usually DJs, they sit down somewhere and look in the phones and oh, it's all right. Go ahead. And you more or less do the thing on your own. Not with Markus. Markus is really into it, and it's really like the studio is like a nuclear plant. I mean, we really give birth to music. I mean, there's something going on.
You did a remix of Stella?
Yeah, with Ferry Corsten. Yeah.
What was like your first Jam and Spoon experience? I mean, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Was it Stella in '92?
Yeah, and of course the Dance to Trance album as well. But I remember Stella. I would play that song, like every single night at the residency that I was doing. to the point where I had to buy a new copy of it because I wore it out. I mean, I would play that from beginning all the way to the paper. Yeah, so Stella was like and then of course, I mean, still to this day, I'll play Age of Love in my sets just because it's just one of those songs that's timeless, you know. It just fits in with the techno, melodic techno stuff that I play in the rabbit holes, and yeah, it's just one of those tracks that just, you know, like I said, it's timeless. So those two specifically are a big influence on me.
I have to say, I like the new remix of the classic Odyssey to Ononia. That's probably one of the greatest B-sides, besides Follow Me. Talk about how you guys redid that track.
Yeah, well, actually, it's through Black Hole. They were talking about the remixes, releasing the remixes to Odyssey to Aniuna. And, you know, he had asked me if I wanted to get involved, and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is like a legacy track. I love the track. So that was actually the first thing that we did when we got in the studio together, is we did that. And I think the chemistry was so good that when we opened up a brand new session and started on something original, we were already like familiar, like I said, almost like reunited in the studio, even though it was our first time in the studio. It just felt like, you know, like, yeah, like we'd been doing it forever.
So is an album gonna come sometime?
You know, that's the thing. We got to figure out what we're gonna do with it. Right now, we're just in the studio having fun, and I think that's the important thing. You know, we always say, just get in the studio, have fun. We'll figure it out later, and that's kind of where we're at now. You know, we'll play the tracks, polish it, get it absolutely perfect, and then we'll figure out exactly how we're gonna release it and what it's gonna be part of. But for sure, it's yeah, it's just having fun right now.
All right, last question. Both guys have to answer this question. What's like been the nicest moment that you've had with Jam since you've got to know him, and what has been your nicest moment with Markus since you know him?
Well, I think well, there are not too many moments, because, you know, I met him this year in 1st of May. But I think one of the some of the really most moving moments was when we have been at Mayday, and he was playing Right in the Night right before I went on stage. With Adina's beautiful voice on it, and you know, standing there, and yeah, I think that was a great moment for me, really.
And Markus?
Yeah, that was a great moment for me as well. I mean, I remember I said, okay, here's the idea that I have. I want to end with it because he's right after me. But if it's part of his set, then obviously I don't want to play it. So I had my team like, okay, your job while I'm on stage is to talk to him and find out if it's okay. And if it is okay, ask him if he wants to come up, right? So, and I'm like, I keep looking out back at my team, and I told him, just give me a thumbs up if everything is good. And I kept looking at them through my whole set, like, thumbs up, and they're like, no, we haven't talked to him yet. And then finally they give me the thumbs up, and I got this like, wow feeling. I'm like, oh, this is going to be an epic moment. So it really was an epic moment.
Yeah, there are some photos, actually. I posted some of the photos if you want to go on the Facebook. There are some moments for us three on stage. It's great.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for this nice interview.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for bringing a new sound or a new project to the trance world.
Oh, my pleasure.